Okay. Okay, just one more joining us.
Still quite a few people signing up.
Okay, fine. Well, let's give it another minute or so.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello there.
Is that Guy?
Yeah,
Guy,
that's
hello,
me.
Guy.
Oh, let me put a video on. There you go.
There he is.
I'll put a shirt on.
Well, you're lucky I've got this on.
I know.
Normally, it was only out of respect for you ladies.
Some people never change, do they? First time I met Guy was in, I don't know, late 2016, 2017. I saw this man mountain walking down the jetty thinking, who the hell was that? And I was thinking, Guy's value, actually, he can paddle as well. Value is to possibly impress the ladies and also scare the blokes. I'm talking about the opposition, but anyway, there you go. Right, let's give it one more minute then. So, Guy, you're coming to...
What's the weather like in the UK at the moment?
It's okay, actually. I mean, it's been really cold, but it's actually quite spring-like. So I'm limited. Well, limited. I'm paddling on a canal at the moment, just down the road from me. And last week it was actually frozen, so I couldn't get out. But apart from that, it's fine. I mean, it's not ideal. It's only about a metre and a half deep, but it's good resistance training. So you do what you can do. So there we go. Anyway, right. Okay. Well, let's get it going. Anyway.
Right.
Oh, we're recording. We're recording. Right. Okay. So welcome everybody. The point to the meetings is it's your meeting. I do not. So I've been doing this coaching and Prem and Senior A and Senior B for 10 years. So what I'm bringing to the party here is not a dictatorial approach. That doesn't work. We have a democratic approach, but obviously once we've decided what we are going to do as a group, and I'm talking about a global group, wherever GB paddlers are, that's what we do. So we're not going to get halfway down the race course in a semi-final and change tactics. So this period here, and it's extended more than it would normally be for obvious reasons. We're deciding what we're doing, where we're going. There's some definite ideas, but I would be rather stupid as a coach if I was just saying my way or the highway, this is what we're doing, and I'm ignoring literally hundreds of years of paddling experience. So if Tristan says to me, I don't know how long Tristan's been paddling, but I'll just pick on Tristan because he's sitting there, just over there. If he's only been paddling 2 months and he said, well, actually, I've been doing this and that, why don't we do this? Well, if it's a good, sensible, then we'll try it. Now, we're not going to be knee-jerking, but you see what I mean? So your opinions are really valuable. And we had a little bit of a reset this week, which is fair enough. I can answer questions about anything you want me to answer questions about. But I think we went a little bit off course, so we're back on course. Yep. And that is basically, we are a global group. So we're not, and I've been on about this for years. There's only one GB coach who talks about the team, as in all the different squads working as a team. Every meeting, I say, look, we need to be doing more joined up working. And in fact, the last meeting we had a few weeks ago, people weren't sure about what's going ahead for the Europeans. So at the end of the meeting, I said, well, if it turns out, say the Europeans go ahead, I don't think they will. And there aren't enough seniors, and there aren't enough senior Bs, and there aren't enough under 24s, and there aren't enough premiers. Why don't we think about, as a last ditch effort, putting in a composite team? And that went down like an absolute lead balloon. The history of GB paddling, and I think it's really drawn them back for years, is that they think in silos. Okay, fine. Then I'll keep suggesting it, but they think in silos. This program, rather than the project, is a global project, and we are open and inclusive to everything. And I've found in 10 years of coaching and paddling at different levels in GB, this tends to work best. And if we ignore people, we could be excluding some great ideas that we should at least be giving it the time of day and airplay. Those who've worked with me before hopefully understand that. I say it's not leaderless, it's just got a direction, but it's inclusive. So that's it. So any point, yes.
Yeah, is that a little basically democratic? However, here's the little box where to put ideas in. I think isn't that a better? Is that like at specific moments? Obviously, I know you're from police and military. You're talking about leadership, and you're trying to say, well, I'm not heavy-handed here, but it's kind of, aren't you saying, well, yeah, we don't want to have everybody's opinion all of the time, do we? We want the right opinion at the right time,
Right.
but we don't want to quash ideas.
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. Put in a more succinct way. It's not. I mean, the term we use over here, probably. It's not a Chinese parliament. No pun intended anywhere. It's basically, and the way, if you know, the way the Spartans, the ancient Spartans elected people, they all went into a room and whoever shouted loudest got elected. I'm not suggesting we do that. That's one extreme. What I'm saying is I will remain open and inclusive to any ideas from anybody, but the ship has direction. Yeah, you see what I mean? That's all. I mean, many of you have been talking to me, sharing ideas, but I get the impression sometimes people are a little bit reluctant to put their opinion forward. It may just be because their particular club is more autocratic. That's all. But I'll say, once we decide where we're going, that's where we're going. Yeah, but we're a little way off that at the moment. That said, we have a program, and you'd have seen the weekly returns, and these things work together. Now, you may, and ask any questions at any time you want, by the way. You may have seen way back when on the Teams platform, there's a big document all about training, philosophy, really, training methodology, rationale. The chances are none of you have read it. I'm not expecting you to read it, but what that does, well, hopefully you will at some stage, what that does, that informs the training. So from this point forward, I will be setting a weekly objective, as you've seen, and the tutorials and the stuff, the theme will feed into that. You see what I mean? So what you end up doing is having a mini tutorial, and then you'll go and practice that. You see what I mean? So the whole thing should link up. So it may seem a bit disjointed at the moment, but that's because we're not paddling. Now, when it comes to the weekly returns, if you've seen them, a few people asked me, said, well, there aren't enough hours in the day. Well, if you have a look at it, I've tried to make it as simple as possible. I mean,
Tim.
Yes. Hello, mate. Right. Tom's here. Right. Hang on, I'm going to come on to Tom in a little while. Good to see you, mate.
Right, I'm literally in a outdoor class.
Okay.
So you have me for very, very quickly.
Okay, let's just hold that thought. Tom, give us a quick input on your program. That's gone out to Hong Kong.
So basically I've made the program really, really easy. So it's COVID friendly. So everyone can do it. There's no excuses. All you need is a weight or a resistance band. They're really easy to pick up. If you really haven't got any dumbbells or even a resistance band, you can just get a backpack and then put some weights in it. So it's super simple to do. Basically, so it consists of 3 workouts, which you can do 2. You can do 2 a week. That's kind of the idea for 6 weeks. And you've got 1 mobility session, which you should try and do once a week, so you can get yourself moving, especially as you hold fast a bit stiff. And then I've got a challenge for everyone to do, and you can go head to head with everybody, and you can basically it's a really, really good way to get fit, burn some fat, get yourself moving, and go head to head, and you can basically improve your time. And that's kind of how you can really, really see yourself progress really, really quickly and easy. Like basically pushing yourself, giving yourself a nice challenge. So yeah, basically I'm going to set up a separate WhatsApp group chat for everyone who's doing the S&C. So you can basically communicate through there and talk, and you can ask some questions through that. And then I'm going to do a Zoom call on the weekend, which we can discuss exactly what time with everyone else who signs up. And lastly, basically I want to try and do like a 3-week challenge where everyone goes on and then basically does the challenge on Zoom together. So we got head to head as a group. It's a good way to get everyone together. And then finally at the very end, do like a finale 6 weeks of the challenge. That's kind of what I want to go with for the S&C for like 6 weeks.
Okay, how many sign-ups have you had so far?
Does everyone understand that?
Yeah.
Yeah. What uptake have you had so far, Tom?
Yeah. That. So.
I think he's doing a strike circuit.
No, I got really bad reception down here at the park and by the waterfront. So yeah. Right.
Have you had many people sign up so far?
We've had 9.
Right. And you're looking for?
At least 20.
At least 20. And the cost, did you cover that? I'll just take the bread out of the oven. Sorry. What was the cost? The cost was $250?
Yeah, $200
Right. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Okay.
Thanks, Tom, for that.
Right. Okay, Tom. No worries. Right. So
if anyone wants to sign up, can you please email me, and then we can move forward from there.
right. Okay. No worries, Tom.
Okay.
Thank you, mate.
Right, thank you guys. See you later.
Okay, thanks.
Right. Couldn't hear anything.
Okay, let me just right, it's muted. Right. Okay, right. We'll jump back to what I was talking about earlier. Now, the way it goes with the S&C program, this is a question I get asked a lot. If you're doing 7 days of CrossFit, yeah, then you're clearly not going to be able to squeeze that in as well. So if you're doing stuff like that and you already have a comprehensive program, tell us. And there's no, it's not obligatory. It's a paid program anyway. So it's really, if you've already got a program, the chances are you're hitting the marks anyway. Do you know what I mean? So I don't need you to be doing, I can't expect you to be doing 24 hours worth of work. But if you have a comprehensive program, clearly it's a sprint discipline rather than a marathon discipline. So we might just ask you to say, well, instead of running ultra marathons, then can we do a bit more sprint stuff? We'll just tinker it, but don't get out of shape about that sort of stuff, because those who have already got programs, already training, will do it regardless. Yeah, so that's that. I'm not entirely sure what I want to do either this round of 6 weeks or later on is combine the UK, the Dubai bases with Hong Kong. It may not work for this one, in which case I've got a backup program. I've been running the same sort of stuff with groups I run in the UK and Ireland anyway for the last few weeks. It's fairly standard stuff. And I think he's put out an email. I've got the details of it, if that's not, so you can get all the information. But it's COVID friendly in that, obviously, a lot of people haven't got access to kit. So if you have a resistance band or a body and a bit of space, that should be okay and all right from there. If you've got a full suite of equipment, fantastic, and your quid's in. Okay, any questions so far on the S&C? No? Okay, some stern looks. It's not that bad. It's quite a good program actually. So you can smile about it. I like this stuff. Clearly, you're not going to get the same resistance as you're pushing tree trunks like Geewood or something. But the point is, I'm very keen on doing stuff that's. I've been working with resistance bands for probably 3 or 4 years, and I pretty much stayed injury free. So I'm very keen on the conditioning. I call it FAME: flexibility, agility, mobility, energy. That's the sessions I run. It's the same sort of thing. And then it's precursors. And if you get into pull-ups and 100 burpees in a minute or whatever, then that's going to help you out with that as well. So it's got its place in the compendium, in the lexicon of training. But if you're really into pushing heavy weights, it's not going to be hitting that mark. So that's that. So if there's no other questions on S&C, I'll move on. Just jump.
I'll just back you up on that. I've been using bands. Obviously, with my shoulder injury with the 2 4-hour operations about 1.5 years ago, I call them essentials now. Yeah. Getting the right weights, getting the right movements, looking through YouTube, seeing all of those areas, because the one-way movement that you get locked into, whether it be a press up or whatever, there's only so many different variables. But when you've got it creates mobility, as Tim was saying. So I don't do logs anymore because I don't want the injury to come back. So I'm controlling the weight. Yeah. So anyway.
Okay. Who has a Lamborghini in the garage? Okay. Imagine you had a Lamborghini in the garage, right? And you sat it there for 2 years, maybe sat in the seat every now and again, pressed a few buttons, and it's got all these fancy gizmos on it that you never use. Say it had a really fancy sunroof. And 2 years later, you got in your car and amazing, you pressed the button and the sunroof didn't open. Yeah. Think of your shoulder as being a Lamborghini. It's a very complex joint, multitude of functions, many of which we never use. And for such most paddlers, the most frequent paddling injury people get is shoulder injuries, particularly rotator cuff. And your rotator cuff, you probably know, is 5 quite intricate muscles which have intricate movements. If you don't keep that flexible, keep it warmed up now, as well as when you're paddling, don't be surprised if when you come to do your first 500 meters, it gets all out of shape. So that's what it's all about. It's just keeping your hips as well and your whole body. I'm 60 this year, right? So I'm not as fit as I was 35 years ago when I was a paratrooper, but I'm still holding the end up. You know what I mean? So it's just not just looking after yourself into old age, but it's just progressing and progressing and progressing. So that's what that's all about. Think Lamborghini in the garage and keep it ticking over. Nice. So on that theme, you won't be surprised to hear that on this week's homework, there's, and this is thanks to Lee for this, to really simplify it, you've got this HIT. It's all about resistance, time under tension, flexibility, and just building up your general levels of fitness. So we've got paddling HIT, if you can paddle, ergo HIT, if you can ergo, and some gym exercises. Now, I can't say they're obligatory, but they're sort of obligatory. I need some returns because I'm measuring what you're doing. However, if you can't do any of that, you can see what the routine is. It's 10 exercise intervals, 10 rests. So if you can only do pogo stick or farmer's walk or something, John Listow, he's a trail runner. So I'm asking him to do, rather than miss out on the trail running expedition, go and do that and do some sprints during it. You see what I mean? So if you've got problems with any of that, talk to me and we'll come up with something. And I'm pretty sure once you see it, you can come up with some permutations yourself, which gives me the sort of interval training, heart rate training sort of stuff that we need to be going down. That's what that's about. Any questions, ask. Really, really important. So far, I know you haven't seen it yet. Any questions on the homework? If you're spending more than 45 minutes on the paddle, 45 minutes on the ergo, or 20 minutes on the exercise, you're doing too much. But it will build up. I promise you, it will build up. I'm trying to sort of pitch it and hit a number of different marks. Okay. On the resistance band side of things, on the bottom of the email, there's 3 links. You may or may not know, I like making YouTube videos. Okay. Perhaps I'm an exhibitionist, I don't know. But anyway, the point is there's 3 videos with a shed load of resistance bands exercises. So do have a look at that. It's, I don't know, 20 minutes of your life you're not going to get back, but it might just save you a few costs in videos, in physios and chiropractors. Yeah. So give it a go, see what you think. That's that. GBHK. GBHK is, all due respect to the Prems, I used to coach the Prems, GBHK is a Premier Team thing. GBHK is not a senior thing, it is GB. You just happen to be in Hong Kong, there's some people in Dubai, there's Chris in Mauritius, etc., etc. Now that doesn't mean, and this is important, it would be, if, for example, the 20 or so of you there, if you were a really tight, cohesive team, it would make a lot of sense for me to run you, or us to run you, as a mixed team. So I'm not saying I'm going to mix and match people. And if, for example, in Dubai, they've got a tight little team there, it would make sense as far as possible to keep them together, obviously. However, that's paddling level. But all the thinking is joined up across the board. That's the point about GB, as opposed to GB. And I don't want to go down the silo, just HK, just a strengthening and conditioning program for HK, just one for Dubai. You see what I mean? We're all going to join up. And the other thing is, David might be sitting next to me in a dragon boat in October, November. So we need to be understanding each other, working together and knowing the way that we get the best out of each other as a team and as individual paddlers and small groups in the boat. Yeah? Okay. Okay, so far. You may have seen stuff regarding a 100 burpee challenge. If not, the 100 burpee challenge, and by the way, the record for Senior C, which is me, is 7 minutes 18. Okay, you lot should be doing much less than that. You don't have to do the 100 burpee challenge, but what I'll be doing is a bit of fun. It's what I call fun. I'll be putting these things out to you. If you want to do them, do them. It's not obligatory, but if you're going to be doing 100 burpees a day for the next week or so, then do put it on the sheet because it's pretty good fitness. Yeah. But say, what I'm doing with it, let me explain it, unpack it a bit. It's about the psychology of racing side of things. So paddling boats, and I'm sure anybody who's done any paddling will agree, it's not just about, paddling is really important. Technique is vitally important, but it's not just about paddling boats and pumping iron. Race psychology, I used to think the race psychology side of things was 50%. I now think it's probably in the 90+%. So you've got to have your head on it. So what we're doing with this burpee stuff is examining seriously how fast we can do 100 burpees. Now, one method we just get on it and just blast out 100. A more intelligent way to do it at the moment, I'm thinking, is I'm doing 13 a minute for 6 minutes and then doing the last 22. And I've got different people trying different things. What is it about? What it's about is you as paddlers, as athletes, thinking about what you're doing. So when you do a 500 meters, if you're doing 60 strokes a minute, that's going to be something in the region of 120, 130 strokes. And as a senior GB level athlete, we need to be thinking about each one and every one of those strokes and maximizing the power output from that stroke. Now, that's not, some clubs go into this sort of level, but we're going into this sort of level because we need to be winning races. We're not just turning up wearing a shirt. This is Senior A. And if you're not familiar with it, the standards we were achieving in the Premier team in 2017, and we were getting into every major final. We were losing every final, but we were getting into every major final, which is no mean achievement. That standard, around about the sub 2,500, is where Senior A is now. So there's certainly no, at Senior A, the whole standard is going up. And I think I mentioned it last time, in Pattaya, if you were there, the World 200 was obviously won in 39.25 by China, and it was lost by Italy in 43 seconds. Fifth boat. I've done a few 44s in my life. I've never done a 43. And probably as a Senior C athlete now, that's probably beyond my level. You see what I mean? So we need to be intelligently training. That's what that's about. So I'll be putting that stuff out. Get involved if you want to get involved in it. It's just interesting, but it's all part of the psychology of training and that preparation piece, which starts now and continues all the way through. Any thoughts on that?
Not really.
If you think it's total nonsense, tell me. But if you say,
We have to up the game, I mean, for sure.
Say again?
We have to up the game for sure.
Yeah.
We've got to keep on it. We've got to stay on it.
When I was in the police, I did a couple of years of training in a specialist area. And occasionally people say to me, I was a Met officer, London officer. And people say, you can always tell a Met man, but not much. Met officers are very opinionated. And the Met officers used to sit in the back and say, that's a load of crap. I'll just say to them, fine, no worries at all. Just define crap. So please object, question, ask anything you want. If I'm talking nonsense, I'll get Lee or Guy or anybody to explain it. But, you know, that's for me to change the message so we understand each other. Yeah, okay. A few more points and then I'll open up to any questions. Race psychology, burpees, documents and rationale. As I say, everything I've done so far, lots of videos, they're all on the Teams platform. If you have difficulty, and there are a few, accessing the Teams platform, no problem, just tell me about it and I'll just input your data myself. You know, it's going to be a small number. That's not a problem, yeah? I find Teams a bit of a pain, I've got to say, because it takes over my whole computer, but we're sort of some way down the line now. But everything I'll be referring to, all the rationale is there, but I'm not going to expect you to go hunting for it. As and when it becomes pertinent, I'll just pull up that document and stick it on an email. Yeah, so that's the way it goes. But it's all there as a resource if you want to sort of spend a few weeks doing the box set, so to speak. So returns, communicate, injuries. We have 2 people in the squad, not in Hong Kong, with cancer. But they've fortunately got some cancers that are treatable. They're still training. Clearly, they're not going to be doing burpee challenges. And one of my mates is having his second operation this week. If you are injured or you've got some issues going on, you know, I appreciate this year, tell me about it. And I do not want anybody to think they're under pressure to get a return in. This is supposed to be an enjoyable process and you're working hard with your mates. If it's causing you stress because you've got this going on, that going on, then tell us about it and we can sort of get the pressure off. You see what I mean? So for example, if Guy's having a problem with his shoulders or whatever, and he can't do certain stuff, fine. That's understandable. It's a marathon, not a sprint, and the competition is in November, we hope, or sooner maybe, not now. You see what I mean? So just keep informed, keep communicating, everything is fine, yeah? If you don't do anything for 6 months, well, that's different, but let's worry about that as and when. So that's that. That's returns, documents, race psychology, I got asked one of the questions from the house, are you looking to peak too early? No, I'm looking to peak around about November 2021, but there's a lot of work to go. And as Lee says, you know, we've got to up the game, so I've got to take it up in stages. According to Mark Twain, if you know your quotes, the best way to get ahead is to get started. And according to me, the best way to get started is to get started. So if you're anything like me, and if you're a human being, you probably will be. For me, one of my favourite sayings is, if the reason is not big enough, the excuse will be. So even though I love my training, you know, I do spend some time thinking, do I really want to go for a run today? Do I really want to go paddling? You know, same as everybody else. So you are the same as me. So we just have to overcome that and squeeze it in. But clearly, if it's impacting too much on your other life stuff, then we got to decide. And some people have actually dropped out of the squad because they're saying, well, I'm keen, I'm motivated, but right here, right now, I've got other stuff going on and I can't do it. My answer is, thank you very much. You know where we are. The door is open. It's not going to stay open forever, obviously, but you know, come back if you're ready. Yeah.
I just wanted to add about exercise, and aside from the training routine, exercise in a sedentary life, which we all technically have, is like cleaning your teeth. You brush your teeth every day, whether you like it or not, you do it. Find that a workout. I'd say, if you can't, like, it's like the stress aspect. If one thing is stressful, then do your default exercises at least.
Yeah.
It shouldn't take any more than 15 minutes. That keeps your heart going, your mobility, strength and endurance. And that's what I say. I think it's a brushing your teeth exercise, opposed to going into stress mode about everything. What would you say? Yeah.
Absolutely. Don't get stressed about it. And what I'm aiming at here is you doing the returns, doing the work, because you're part of a team and you want to be part of your team, and being part of the team is important to you. And that's where the race psychology and the team blending comes in. Normally we'd be way down the line, but we're not, obviously, for obvious reasons. What I don't want to have the situation is where some bloke, some jumped up coach says to you, you know, in the UK says, you have to do this, you have to do that, and you do it because you have to do it. That's not the way, that's not where high performance lives. We've got to create the situation, create the climate where you want to do it, because Tristan wants to back up Barney, and Barney wants to back up Jane, and Jane's working hard because she's sitting next to Liam. That's what I'm looking for. Yeah. And that's, you're really going to be the people to help me to work out how to make that blend work, because it'll be slightly different in Hong Kong. It'll be slightly different in Dubai, and we'll just have to weave that together as best we can, because we're not in the boats at the moment. When we start getting in boats, it starts getting easier and the blend starts making more sense. Okay. Right. Well, I talk a lot and I've talked too much. So let me open the floor, right? Any questions about anything? And there's Tom again. And bearing in mind, obviously, the silly question is the one you don't ask. So let's just go around. Any questions from the house? Anybody about anything?
Right, I want to ask you a question.
Yeah.
More to do with the laws of the world champs, and that is, what do they say about cross-bordering between, say, Prems and seniors? Like, can you do one race in the Prems, one race in the seniors? Is that an absolute no-no?
No, yes and no. And let me explain that. Let me unpack that. So if you're in the Prems and you got selected to do the 500 meters, yeah, that's one. The 500 meters is one competition. You could technically, and we did this in the senior B team. We had a senior C team as well. If it's a different competition, technically you could. So Lee, how old are you now? 55. Right. So Lee is senior B. So technically he could do the Prem 500 and the senior B 200.
But
he
not
could
the 500.
Big boat and small boat, because you can't mix classes. Yeah. But it depends on the competition. And that would create a huge amount of complexity. However, this is one of the reasons, it's a great point, why I'm keen on the team, as in the big GB team, working as a team, not working in silos.
No, that's why I asked the question, because looking at the faces around, you know, there's obviously going to be some kind of, you know, people looking at both, especially after the last sort of quietness in the last couple of months. So there's people, you know, doing Prem homework and also senior homework, and those people may get pulled in a different direction. And I'm just wondering, as a whole GB team or selection, is it possible to cross those lines or boundaries in order to get the best for a medal in whatever it happens to be, senior or Prem?
I think that should be the way it should be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
It does. Yes. It is possible, and that's the way the team should be working. The team doesn't and never has, in my knowledge, worked that way. Yeah, Karen. Yes. Oh, Karen, I thought you were going to say something. No. Okay. Right. So, in theory, yes, and I'm open to any ideas around that. Yeah. At the moment, I think Vicky said to me, we've got something like 8 people. Now, Vicky said to me, there's 8 people in the senior team who've been permissioned to paddle with the Prems. You don't need permission. You paddle where you're happy paddling. Okay. However, what as a senior A coach, what I don't want to be doing is down the line, post time trial, whenever that's going to be, and the time trial is just a selection method amongst methods. It's not the only one. Then once we decide what we're doing, then we decide what we're doing. At this stage, it's a bit early because the Prems are essentially in a holding pattern and waiting to see till April to see what's going on. We're doing something slightly different, but it should be joined up. But that there will be probably a small number of people that applies to or keen on doing for both. But I have absolutely no objection with, say, for example, Lee, if you wanted to train with 500 meters in Prem and something else in Senior A, that's fine. But that's it's not going to be everybody. So it's the sort of thing you say, yes, we're open and inclusive. Yes, it's a distinct possibility, and let's manage the individuals as and when that situation arises. Yeah. Clearly, as time goes on, at the moment, if I'm asking for 40 minutes of homework, or if you like, or a week, it's going to be easy to do whatever the Prems are asking and the Senior A's are asking. Yeah. As time goes on, obviously, so the paddlers, the athletes, tend to self-select and decide which way they want to go. Yeah. But if they're training with 2 different teams, then they, as an implication, an obligation to do 2 sets of homework. You see what I mean? Or make sure they both fit together. But that's a discussion point, but it's easy. It's easy to sort out. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Great question. Yeah, no, there's no barriers. Yeah. Okay. Any other points? Barney? You're looking thoughtful.
Has anyone got any questions for me while I'm here?
Any questions for Tom while he's here? This is like a photo bomb of a Zoom. Not at the moment. Not at the moment. Okay, fine. Okay.
Yeah. Just email me if you're interested in doing the S&C, please.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Please take a good look at it because it looks like a good program to me. Okay. Okay then. Let's just go around the room then. So Tristan, any points? Happy? Okay. Barney, Alison.
I came in late into this week because I didn't realise that seniors and Prems were separate, so I haven't submitted anything yet. So can we just kind of jump on board at this point and start submitting?
Yeah. Okay. I mean, frankly, the first 3 weeks you can probably knock it out in an hour. You know what I mean? So if you want to go back and retrack, fine, but you'll see the theme. It's not. But it's not. I don't want people under stress because they have to do this, they have to do that. You'll do it because you want to do it. And if we don't create the situation where you're doing stuff because you want to do it, we haven't got a team, frankly. You see what I mean? That's all. So that's the focus more than, it's certainly not dictatorial. It's directed, but not dictatorial. Karen.
Same as Alison, I missed out on some of the emails, so I'm just playing catch up.
Okay. Fine, no worries. Okay. Gareth.
Great.
No, all good with me.
All good. Okay, Dave. Jane.
Once we're able to get out on the water, I've not done this process before. So what is the water training likely to look like? Firstly, before trials, and then secondly, after trials?
Right. Well, the build up to the trials is more time trial based and focused on the distances. The chances are the water work is going to be 1,000 meters, a 500 meters, and either a 200 meters or a 60-second maximum effort. Yeah, that's what's worked well in the past. I say I'm open and inclusive to other things. There'll be other stuff as well in terms of ergos, but in terms of sessions, a sample of sessions, they're actually on the Teams platform, and I'll stick them on an email, the next email anyway. Let's be bread's ready. On the Teams platform, there's a series of 16 sessions. So if you're able to get out on the water, there's already 16 sessions which have, it's all structured, there's some rationale behind it, there's some tempo training, there's some sprint parts, there's some this, there's some that. 16 sample sessions of the sort of stuff. So if you have a look at it, you'll see the sort of composition. That's the basis of it. But in terms of the paddling program specific to Hong Kong, I'll be talking to Lee, a lot of experience there. So that will probably form the basis of it. And I'm pretty sure if I sat down with Lee and said, well, how are you going to plan a program between now and next April? We're going to probably come up with pretty much the same sort of things. Yeah. But obviously at this point in time, over the winter, normally, in short, the training plan would be volume based, tempo sort of training, not just go out and blast 50 minutes of paddling, but, you know, structured. It might be some different parts of different pressures, heart rates, etc., etc. And then we structure it that way. Now it's shorter distances, but at the moment, obviously, we're playing a bit of catch up in terms of getting on the water. So as and when we can get on the water, just to give you a rough idea, from that date forward, I'll then be talking to Lee and Nikki in Dubai and saying, right, now we've got this period. We're going to do a workup period for maybe tempo for maybe 3 weeks. We're going to be doing some specific hit on the water stuff for 4 weeks, and we're going to time trial at that point. So I'm not going to say to you at the moment, the selection time trial is on this date. It will be informed by when you're on the water, yeah, because it can only be that. But the selection time trial is only one measure. And I've lost some great people in the past because I've only had one measure. So think about this. Every paddle stroke of every session is a selection piece. Every piece of homework is a selection piece. Yeah. Every ergo pull is a selection piece. So if it turns out you're a fantastic paddler and you have a crap day and you have food poisoning on the day of the time trial, then we've got a backup of other stuff so we can see what you are consistently across the piece rather than how you perform on one day. That'll be a lot of emphasis on that. You see what I mean? So I'm looking at the whole picture, the whole Jane Woolerton, not just Jane Woolerton on one day. Yep. It's not the way everyone does it, but we're not everyone. This is just what I've learned over the last 10 years working with some good coaches, including Lee, I've got to say. Yeah. So that's the way I'm doing it, but I'm open to other ideas as well. Yeah. Does that answer the question? So as soon as you're on the water, then you'll find it all rolls out in terms of programs, etc., etc. But at the moment, I can't say it's going to start April the 1st, June the 1st, November the 1st. Hopefully not that late. Okay, so that's the way it works. So bear with us, please. Okay, thank you, Jane. Derek, hello, mate.
Hi, thanks. I came in late and I'm still trying to catch up on the program. But can I just have a suggestion? I appreciate that you explained the rationale, but sometimes would you be able to just tell us exactly what you need us to return at the very beginning of the email so that we can just get on and do that first? And it's easier for us to sort through all the requirement versus the rationale, if that's possible.
Right, absolutely. Having spoken to Lee, if you have a look at the latest email I sent out last week and this week, have a look at the email. Have a look at the bit in bold. It says paddle hit, ergo hit, gym hit, do one of those things, 3 things. If you want to do more. If you can't do any of those things, get in contact. That's it.
Okay.
In
Just
a
one of the
nutshell.
3, right? Not all 3. Okay.
No. It is or. If you want to do more, do
Or.
more. Yeah. Hopefully you will do more, but I'm asking for 1.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks to Lee for that, because I probably wrote too much. Great. Simon,
Appreciate
hello,
that.
mate. How are you? Thanks, Derek.
Good, thanks. Yeah, I was going to ask, like, if we are following along with our own, like, a gym's strength and conditioning programming, how do you want us to let you know what we're doing? How do you want us to feed that back to you?
Just email me, tell me what you're doing. Most of the routines I know. I don't need to know every press up and stuff or whatever, but if you give me a flavour of what you're doing, so you say, for example, if you're doing CrossFit, yeah, if you're doing CrossFit, then where you are in a particular program, then I'll know where we are. Yeah, that's all. But if you're cracking on doing this, and if you're minded to be doing CrossFit and stuff, the chances are there's not a great deal you're going to gain from an additional strength and conditioning program, but we might just ask you to tweak a few things at certain points. So if you want to get the best out of you pre-time trial, you're not going to be going doing, like I say, running marathons. You see what I mean? So that's all. If that's not obvious to people, that's what that's about.
It'd be good to know, like, which bits you want to do for kind of benchmarking purposes versus just pure training, right?
No, absolutely. And I've just finished a 21-day challenge in the UK and Ireland, and that's got 20. Well, that will be coming out as well. So, for example, the chances are our gym selection will be based upon those. Yeah. Plus maybe a few pull-ups, because I love pull-ups, but that's more about that later. Yeah.
Thanks.
Pull-ups and burpees, for some reason, people are scared of them. I don't know why. If you love them, you love them. But anyway, they're great exercises. Fine. I can see you like pull-ups, so no worries. Okay, then. Thank you, Simon. Andrew and Gillian.
Yeah, no, all good from this side. Yeah,
Okay,
all pretty clear.
Thank you very much, Sam. It's all clear. All right, it's working.
It's all good here as well.
Okay. Liam, my friend, haven't seen you for ages. How are you first?
Doing good, thank you.
How's your dad?
Yeah, no further comments from me, thanks.
Okay, no worries. Is your dad well?
My dad is well, yes.
Fantastic, great to hear it. Nice one. Guy, hello, mate.
Hi, yeah, perfect, brilliant.
I was surprised
No
you
questions.
weren't doing some pull-ups during this session, actually, but obviously you're slowing down.
That's my pull-up bar up there.
Okay.
That'll be straight
that was a joke, but
afterwards.
okay, no worries. Okay, Maurice. Thank you, mate. No worries. Feel free to knock out a few.
Hi, this is the first time I joined the meeting, and I just quit from the Wiki's group because I can't pedal. I only can steer, and I myself is a sports coach, and I do recently, luckily, I'm quite busy. Having a lot of running classes for children. That's I have no time to catch up with Wiki's program and to do the benchmark test. So that's why I told her that really I really can't do it. So I quit from Wiki's WhatsApp, and so Wiki asked me to stay. You can stay for in the Senior A group. So I would like to know, okay, what are you going to what are you going to lead for the steersmen? Okay, what kind of program and what kind of requirement you lead? Actually, myself, I do sports every day, running, cycling, and I'm still steering every week.
Right. In that case, no problem at all. So, Morris, could you email me, because I've got a whole program, and what happens is when we get on the water paddling program, we have a steering program as well. So you're not just there on the back waving a stick, you're actively part of it as well. So I write a program. So for example, instead of doing a 200, you do a 300 with a turn. So don't worry about that, but talk to me, email me, and we'll get on with that in terms of the sort of stuff you're doing now and where you are and how we can support you as well. Yeah, brilliant.
Thank you.
No, thank you very much. And just to that point exactly, people will vote with their paddles. They'll gravitate towards a certain group. The way I've worked with Vicky before, the way Vicky does things is different to the way I do things. So you'll prefer like one, dislike one. So that's just an organic process and will happen as it happens. Yeah. Okay. But I will not be poaching anybody, nothing like that. Just not in my not in my ethos. People paddle where they're happy paddling. That's it. So my aim is to try and make you happy paddlers. And a happy boat is a fast boat, and a fast boat is a happy boat. Okay.
Thank you.
Right. Last one. Okay then. Thank you then. Brenda. Any points, Brenda?
I'm good now, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Good to talk to you. And Tom's going to come and go. And I think that I've got one saying iPhone. Yes.
Yeah, sorry, that's me.
Okay.
I got multiple phones.
Okay.
Sorry, my name's Rod. I do have a question. When does the, you send out a thing once a week? Will that be Wednesdays you send it out, or? All right,
Yeah.
cool. I just to catch it because I missed it from the other week. So yeah, all right. Thank you.
The only reason I do it Wednesdays is because most people, being human beings, tend to try and do it on the weekend, and invariably somebody emails me on Monday and say, I can't do it the weekend, I'll try and catch up. So I say, let's just go Wednesday to Wednesday and make it easier. For some reason, that seems to work best over the years, like I say. But if it turns out that Michelle in Hong Kong, she's having a COVID test, she couldn't do it, so she can do it tomorrow. Not a problem. Yeah. Okay. Fine. In that case, that's 50 minutes. We'll get on with the tutorial side of things next week. I just wanted to sort of just not clear the decks, just understand where we're going on with this. And like I say, any questions that you haven't asked that you want to come in, or if you're listening to this offline and you want any questions, that email me or Lee or obviously Tom in terms of the S&C. But that's all from me. If there's no further questions, I'll leave you for your day. Thank you very much for your time and look forward to working with you in the near future. Yeah? Brilliant. Okay, Lee, or any final points from Lee? Sorry.
Yeah, all right. I just want to say it's nice to see a full screen, and I have got a big screen of faces for a change, because last week there was only about 4 or 5 of us. It's nice to see that everyone's actually coming alive. You're still out there and you're still interested. We still need a bit of a kick. We still need to get more people involved. There's probably still people that don't know what's going on, like this Zoom meeting, for instance. Maybe some people still missing emails. But if you're around, you talk to people, it's a small community, get onto them. If they're seniors, they're interested, or you can persuade them to be interested, get them in. Let's get a team. You've got to remember that this year, it's in our own country. We know the water, we know it's shit water, we can surf boats, we know it's going to be up and down and round and round, we know the lanes, right? We don't know who's coming. So we're at an advantage all around. So we can actually get out there and become world champions this year. It's going to be one of the very few opportunities you're going to get to actually get a medal and possibly come first. All right, so let's get out there and do it. Trust me, I thought about it and I'm in. Let's fucking do it. Sorry, I swore.
Actually, once that's fine. Let me just say one more word on that. Senior A, I'm 59 years old, right? My son is 22 years old. For every one star jump, for every one burpee I can do, he can do 2, right? It's physiology. There's a reason why there's Senior A, Senior B, Senior C. What I'm trying to persuade GB to do, because what they've done is they've sacked it's crazy. They've sacked the youth team and the under 24 team. What I've said to them is, why don't you mobilize the under 24s and stick them in the Premier team and put your Senior A's in the Senior A team? Because that is your best chance. And if people think you're going into a world championships in the Far East, if the Premier team full of 40 and 50-year-olds, forget it. I mean, forget it. It's physiology, right? Unless you're a supreme Superman, Superwoman athlete, then, you know, I like resistance training, but that's a big ask. So I'll just leave that with you. That's my take on it. Yeah. And I'm not looking to be paddling in Senior A. I'm too old. That means all of you has to be better than me. And I said this to the Prems for 5 years and they failed. Do not fail. I need to be getting nowhere near that boat and I'm not going to stop training. So it's a friendly challenge. Yeah. Okay. Enough of me. I've talked enough. Thank you very much.
Cheers, mate.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you next week.
Thank you.
Cheers.